got 10 secret settings for you on the Lumix S1 Mark II, S1R Mark II, S1II E. I assume it's on that camera too because it's the same body, same operating, whatever. But yeah, that's right. I used to do these videos all the time back in the day on the Lumix S1H and Lumix cameras just in general because I felt like they had so many features that other cameras didn't have, and I just wanted to tell the world about these features. I would almost bet my money on it as well that a lot of the other YouTubers out there, they missed these 10 settings. Maybe not all of them, but I would bet that they missed these settings. Just know, you come here, I am your Lumix daddy. So if you don't know me, my name's Dustin, your video tour guide. Remember, keep your arms and legs inside your chairs at all times. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Now, secret setting number 1 has everything to do with autofocus. That's right. There's a lot of things that people missed when it comes to Lumix's new autofocus system on these newer bodies. In the past, I used to recommend to not use the face and eye mode right here on Lumix to keep it in the full eye, face, and body mode. That has actually changed. On these newer bodies, I actually recommend to not use this mode unless you're gonna be recording somebody autofocus-wise from far away where you're seeing their full body and they may walk all the way up to camera, something like that. But even in that scenario, I may recommend using the eye and face mode. The big reason that I said to not use this mode is because if the camera lost either the face or the eye, it would lose subject detection completely. This new mode though, if I turn this way, it's probably lost my eye, but it's still trying to detect my face. I've been using the new face and eye mode though a lot. You can see right here when I go like this, it stops detecting my eye, but it's still detecting my face. Now another secret, I've got a bunch of secrets when it comes to the autofocus, if you couldn't tell, that I'm really excited about, is that when you would put your hand in front of this box right here, it would try and focus on your hand. But now they've made it so if it's detecting an eye, like it is right now, so it's detecting my eye, but a foreground object comes into play, it's going to still focus and prioritize the eye. The next thing I did talk about in my S1R2 video is the tracking. Now in this mode, it used to be not really recommended. It wouldn't even have, I think, subject detection. Maybe it would if the box was touching you, but the new subject detection, see how it focuses on the background? Well, if I reach around here and click on my face, missed, now it's going to be tracking me, and it's going to keep tracking me until it loses me. What's nice about this mode is that if there was another subject in here, it's going to keep tracking me. A lot of the times what people will do, especially in large crowds, is they'll just stay in the full area mode. But in large crowds, I don't really recommend this mode because it's gonna be detecting so many faces, and even though you can use the joystick to switch between the different subjects, if it loses that subject, it's gonna try and focus on another subject, and yeah, it's just not the greatest. So I would recommend choosing the tracking AF and then touching on your subject, and now it'll just try and prioritize tracking that subject. Even if it loses them for just a second, hopefully it should come back. It's a much welcome change when it comes to the autofocus. Now there's a few little bonus autofocus secrets that I need to tell you about as well that was kind of annoyances on previous Lumix cameras. One being when you change to S&Q mode, you would lose phase detect autofocus. From what I can tell, it's not confirmed or anything. In my tests, when you shoot in S&Q, you still have phase detect autofocus. So that's a nice welcome change. There is one thing though that I want to say is that Lumix's autofocus has come a really long ways. However, I've noticed that there are some interesting quirks and nuances to be aware of. One, it seems like when you plug in an HDMI and you shoot over 30 FPS, you're going to lose subject detection. Kind of a weird one. I also noticed that when you shoot at higher resolutions, even at 24 or 30 frames per second, you lose the tracking mode. And so this is what I'm going to say, because I've been super critical of Lumix's autofocus, is that all of these things are welcome changes. It does seem like with every new camera or every new update or whatever, feels like we get some new stuff, but then there's some weird other things that we lose as well. So I can understand some nuances to happen that are just, total hardware limitations. It just gets really confusing. So if they can fix that, yeah, I think that'll make a lot of people happy and a lot of less headache for people that buy these cameras and don't understand these limitations. So, but anyways, I think I've talked about the autofocus enough, and it's time to move on to secret number 2. Next, we've got the photo video separate function. If you don't know already, there's a new photo, video, and S and Q switch that's on the left side of the dial on the camera. Essentially, this makes it so your photo and video settings function separately. However, if you want those functions to remain the same when you change between photo and video, like when you change from photo to video, do you want the white balance to stay the same, or do you want the white balance setting to be separate? So say it's at 5600 in video mode, but it's at 3200 in photo mode. Do you want those to remain separate? Or if you change in either mode to 5600 or 3200, when you change to the video mode, you can change to, the same, you'll have the same white balance in either mode. So basically I have it set up so that my f-stop, shutter speed, ISO, exposure comp, white balance, and AF mode remain the same, but my photo style and metering mode change when I change between photo and video. Most of the time when I'm shooting photos, I don't want to shoot in vlog. So I have it in standard when I switch to photos or whatever, Cine-like or something like that. And then when I switch back to video, I'm usually shooting in vlog. So I want those to remain separate. I don't want to have to change from vlog every time that I change over to photos. I don't want that. Now let's move on to secret setting number 3. Secret setting number 3 has to also kind of do with separate settings and autofocus. Have you ever changed between photo and video and left the AFS button or autofocus single shot on when you're in video and you don't notice? Me personally, I never use autofocus single shot when I'm in the video mode. Well, there is now a new setting available for when you change into video mode. If you have the autofocus single shot active, it will still prioritize using continuous autofocus instead. So if you prefer to shoot in single shot mode when you're in the photo mode, but you don't want to have to remember to switch to autofocus continuous when you switch back to video, you can just leave that switch on S instead of having to remember to change it to C. Now, I know some of you probably don't own an S1II, S1IIe, or an S1R2, and you may not for a minute, so don't worry. These next secret settings are actually available on your S5II, S5IIX, and S9. Secret setting number 4 is for all of you Lumix shooters that still hate using autofocus on your Lumix camera. I've talked about the monochrome live view on this channel before, which essentially just makes the live view on your monitor or on your camera's monitor black and white. Did you know that if you turn on focus peaking, it will still display the peaking colors, and it makes it a lot easier to tell when your focus peaking is in the right spot. So this setting is not only useful for those who do broadcast, but it's also useful for you very stubborn Lumix shooters that just still hate using autofocus. But let's go ahead and move on to secret setting number 5. Secret setting number 5 is really not anything new. I've just never really talked that much about it on this channel. And it's for you photographers. I actually have a few secret settings for you photographers as well. I always get complaints about that. These cameras, you always talk about the video settings, no photography stuff. Well, shameless plug, if you want to learn the photography settings on this camera, I actually teach an online course. Yes, they are very powerful tools for video, but I've got over an hour of content in my course, Lumix Pro, teaching you all the photo settings as well. And there's like 2.5 hours of content on the video settings. They are very capable for both. I'm also gonna have a section available soon on the S1 Mark II, S1E, I'm getting the S1R, those newer cameras. It's all gonna be there soon, so there's a link in the description if you wanna learn more. But XPAN is basically just an aspect ratio mode that you can use on your Lumix camera. And it's one of my favorite ways to actually take pictures on my Lumix camera. Don't mind me, just getting straddled by my tripod here. Does this view make you guys uncomfortable? Doesn't make my wife uncomfortable. I'm just gonna move on to the next secret setting. Now, secret setting number 6 isn't really widely supported quite yet, even on the newest S1 series bodies. This is one reason I like Lumix, is they've already started rolling out updates to support it with lenses, and that is the new AF focus ring function. This was introduced with the 24-60. However, the new firmware for this lens also adds support for it. This is the S Pro 50mm 1.4, and I believe they rolled it out for the 20-60mm lens and one other lens that I can't remember. But anyways, essentially when you're in autofocus, you can spin the ring and make it do something. I don't use crop zoom very often because I notice it just takes a lot of button switches to get it going, right? It just takes a minute. The way I have it set up now though is the AF function is set to crop zoom. And then when I change to a rec quality mode that supports crop zoom, I can just spin my focus ring and it'll zoom in and zoom out. Kind of handy, huh? Let's move on though to secret setting number 7. Secret setting number 7 has to do with those that like to shoot in RAW. The cool thing is that Lumix added the ability to record proxies. This is something that they kind of threw out of left field with this new one, is that when you're shooting in RAW, so B-RAW, maybe ProRes RAW, I haven't looked all the way into it yet, but you're gonna be able to shoot proxies to the SD card as well, not just shoot RAW to like your external monitor. You can shoot proxies. I feel like this will come in handy because I've had a few clients where I've shot in B-RAW and then after they've been like, hey, can we get some of that footage? And I'm like, do you know what B-RAW is or Blackmagic RAW? They're like, no. So now I could potentially just deliver those proxies, at least as long as the proxies are a high enough resolution for them. Most of the time I feel like it's just fine because they're just wanting that raw footage likely to create like social content, but it does save some hassle to give that footage to your clients, or maybe they just want to look through the raw footage before you get started and choose some selects or something like that. It just gives you a better option than having to create the proxies after. What? I was hungry, okay? Why are you judging me and my bag of Cheetos? Man's gotta eat. Let's move on to secret setting number 8. Secret setting number 8 is one that I'm pretty sure nobody has talked about or covered in their videos. I don't know, I haven't seen them all, but I don't even remember Lumix themselves mentioning this, but it's the new multiple exposure setting for photography. Now, multiple exposure is a little bit different than like bracketing and like focus stacking and stuff like that. Essentially, you're taking 2 different photos. Bear in mind, I haven't even used the setting, and so I'm not exactly sure how it works, but it'll take like the highlights and it'll make that like an alpha or something, and then it'll put your next image into the alpha or the highlight or something like that. But anyways, you can do some really cool effects with multiple exposure. I need to dive a little bit deeper on like how it works, because it's one that I just saw and I'm like, hey, I know what that is. I kind of forgot that that was even a thing, and it's available now on Lumix. And of course, I'll be covering that in my course. So if you want to learn more about multiple exposure, let's just jump right in though to secret setting number 9. Secret setting number 9 is another one that I haven't really tried quite yet, but it's the new AI white balance function that you can do when you do the raw processing for your photos in camera. It sounds really cool, and I'm excited to try it out more for my photos because, you know, if you're shooting in maybe auto white balance and you want to reprocess it in camera and get a more accurate white balance, then use the AI white balance function. It doesn't work while you're using photos. It takes up too much processing, so you have to do it through raw processing. We are closing in on our last secret setting. And finally, our last secret setting, which is the Lumix Flow app now supports monitoring wirelessly. Hopefully this is something, and I don't even know if Lumix Flow is even supported quite yet on the S5II, S5IIX, or S9. I don't know if there's gonna be support for it. I would assume so. Now, I love my Blackmagic monitor and my Hollyland monitor. The only thing that kind of is an annoyance is that it doesn't support touch focus. And so the biggest reason I've been debating of getting a used phone to use for just a monitor is that I can still use touch to focus on while I'm monitoring, basically. There are some things that they're kind of fleshing out still, like in Vlog, there's no LUT monitoring or whatever, but I'm sure that's something that is going to be coming soon. Well, there you have it. 10 new secret settings that are available on your S1II, S1IIe, and S1R Mark II. Let me know if you learned something new down in the comments. I'm always curious if these videos are helpful, useful, and if you guys are interested in my course, remember that it's down in the description. I've got free previews available, even just free assets if you're not exactly interested in the course. Lots of things down in the description, including affiliate links. Those help support the channel and videos like this, so use those if you like me. You like Lumix Daddy. You can always support me though just by hitting the subscribe button and the bell button to be notified of future uploads. Till the next video though, happy filming.